Mental Training 101. And now back to Get Warrior Tough with Andrew and Dutch.
All right. Back in the saddle. Dutch Coleman, Andrew Wittman, leadership, mental toughness coaches. If you want to get in on the conversation, 855-856-1380, 855-856-1380. Use the hashtag GetWarriorTough on Twitter. Dutch is at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD. Go to the website, getwarriortough.com. All right, Dutch, we were talking about the process right before the break, and this is so huge because it's not just, and you and I this is kind of our personal history, you and I. You were doing most all of this stuff already. When you and I got together, you could start to name it and then duplicate it. Like it was like, oh, that's what I was doing, and you put language to it, and you tied it down tight, and then you could duplicate it. But you were doing what you were doing kind of naturally, but now you could teach it to other people. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. Because a lot of people, I mean, there's this thing that we do with athletics, right? You know, Michael Jordan can be Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan has a difficult time teaching it the others, right? Well, a lot of it, and Michael Jordan was a grinder. He was a hard worker, notorious. Right. I mean, he pretty much started the whole weightlifting and basketball thing with his process. But it was hard.
And that
for
whole
him
thing with your tongue on the side too, hanging out. Yeah. He did that too, right? He started that.
But initially he had a challenge when it came to explaining why he could do what he do, how he could do what he did, because a lot of times while you can do it, you can't really explain it. I mean, it kind of seems almost natural to you, right? So with me, not to compare myself to Michael Jordan, even though that's probably the best.
Yeah,
that's the best.
Listen, man.
Yeah, but I thought the way I thought. I considered everything. I always, took everything I did through a process. And it annoyed some people because whenever I made a decision, man, I thought about it. Hey, man, I wasn't a guy who was going to make the impulse buy, the emotion buy, because I'm going to think about it. And if you don't like it, then tough. I'm going to. So now I didn't understand the science behind why my brain worked the way it did until I met you. And so when I started seeing the data and I started understanding how the brain works scientifically, some of the reactions that were going on when I'm thinking certain ways, when I'm dealing with certain issues, that helped me to understand who and why I was. And so now I have a better chance of explaining it to others, and I have a better chance of getting them to buy into why this is valuable to them. When before I'm like, well, this is why I do it and it works. I mean, I kind of do this, and they're impressed by it, but
they couldn't adopt it necessarily. You couldn't give them a process.
They felt like I was special, and they would never be able to do these things. Like, oh, that's just your thing.
You're so talented, Dutch. Yeah, he's
right.
Special,
I'll call whenever time I need it. I'll just call you. Now, after I met you, I'm like, you know what? It's not just my thing. This is everybody's thing.
Right.
They just gotta learn how to do it.
Right. That's what we do. And we've got this process. We've honed it now, and it's so simple. Right. We walk you down the path. And the reason you and I on the break, we were just saying, the reason that we're so good at it is because when we're teaching others, the fastest way to learn is when you teach others. And so every time that we're coaching it or we're teaching it, we're running ourselves down the process again. So we're getting our 10,000 rounds on target while we're helping you. So while we're helping you, it helps us become even better at what we do. But you could do it. Here's the beauty about Get Warrior Tough. You and I are working ourselves out of a job as a coach and as a trainer and as a consultant. That's our whole shtick, is that we get you to do it so that you don't need us anymore.
But the funny thing with that is, as we stay updated on the science, that's where you come for that continuous improvement. But see, when the whole world is thinking like this, it becomes a culture, right?
Right.
So then we lean on each other. So we still use each other because iron sharpens iron, right? So even with this, it's a continuous improvement thing. So I'm gonna challenge people to not only go through CEO of You and People Whisper that second day, but then come back that next year and check in on us again, see what's new, get some additional training. No different from the training that you do in life.
Right.
When you get to update it to the most recent practices that's going on in the culture or in the industry, whatever it is. You're learning new offenses in athletics. You're learning new defenses. What's the best way to train these days, and this and that. It's the same thing in this culture. You got to stay sharp. And the reason why we stay sharp, the reason we stay sharp is because we're continuously teaching.
Right, that's what we do.
It's our
entire life, because we're where it's like, we're like the doctor or the lawyer or the accountant. It's our whole life. So we're the subject matter expert on that. So that's true. And we do want you to keep coming back, because I'll tell you what, Dutch, if you don't stay on top of all of these things that we teach, you'll let it go. It's just like working out and your nutrition and fitness. So you could let it go, and after about 3 weeks, you just kind of let, like, oh, I haven't worked out so long, and then you just like it's off your radar, and next thing you know, you're 50 pounds overweight, and you got to, it's like it's a big thing to get back into it at all, right? So that's why we want you to stay in touch with us and keep your finger on the pulse of keeping your body, mind, and emotions, in check.
And absolutely. And the further we get you away from ground zero, the better it is for us, because our conversations become more productive. We learn even more. We learn at an exponential rate, because what happens is your training plus your experiences teach us, because we deal with, we were dealing with law enforcement. We deal with corporate America. We deal with federal employees. We deal with privately owned owners of privately owned companies, employees, anything. It runs the gamut of the type of people. So when you add in their experiences, then you say people that have been in the business for 1 year, right out of school, 5 years, 10 years, 40 years.
Yeah.
So all these experiences are coming into our
repertoire
space.
Yeah, we're adding it. That's the expertise that really we bring, that a lot of that you just can't get anywhere else, because we're across the board and we're kind of putting it all under one roof, and it's almost like a catalog, almost like a search engine, when you come to us with your problem, and then we walk you down the path. It's not that we have the answer to your problem. It's we tell you, we walk you down the path so you could get the solution to your problem. Right? It's not that we tell people what to do, because they already know most times people already know the answer. They just need help unlocking it.
The process reveals the answer.
Right.
That's the whole thing. I always tell people, and this is one of my famous lines, I don't care what you think, I care how you think, and that there is a process.
Oh, I love that.
And so
I would steal it, but you're my partner, so I'm already got it. So
your conclusion is your conclusion. That's less important to me than the fact that you vetted it, that you went down a path and you checked out every aspect of it. You asked yourself every question, you utilized every resource, and then the answer is the answer. You can't do anything about that, but shame on you if you came up with the answer without all the information being involved, without all the variables,
right,
without knowing all, shame on you when you have an answer.
All right, so we have we have a question that just came in on Twitter from Scorpio Blue 72. Right, she says, "I have often been told that I would be a good leader, but that idea scares me. How do I get past that?" I've often been told I would be a good leader, but that idea scares me. How do I get past that? And I would say this is that the thing about the 11 million bits, right? So we take in 11 million bits of information every second, and only 126 bits goes to our conscious mind for action, right? Do you remember this part, right, Dutch? Because we say it almost every week. The way that we pick the 126 is that's what our mindset is, it's what our attitude is, it's what our opinion is, right? So if it literally becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy medically, because your brain will sift through all the information and prove your genius self right. So if you say, well, I don't know if I could get past that, your brain will find all the information that'll prove that, you should be scared and you might not get past it, and it'll discard any information that would show you how awesome you are. All right, so that's the first thing. You got to point it in the direction of. And then the second thing is that when you're using anytime you say I'm scared, Dutch, what happens when you operate out of fear, anxiety, or worry? What happens?
Half your brain shuts down.
Half your brain shuts down. And what half is it, man?
It's the most important half.
It's the creative, right? The creative genius problem solving.
How am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? Right. You're going to need some creativity to get out of this situation.
Right. So the first thing is, let's just change our self-talk. Even if you don't necessarily believe it right now, this is where the truth comes in. This is your truth. This is your new truth, Scorpio Blue, is that, you know what? I am not scared. Not only am I not scared, I will crush it. I will do it like a boss. I will be a great leader. I am a great leader. And just start changing your self-talk to that side and pointing your 126 to performing. And then the other thing is, Dutch, and then I'll let you weigh in on this. But the other thing is the reason that we have a lack of confidence in our leadership abilities is because we don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So here's the real answer. If you want to get past it, get into the CEO of You and People Whisper and get into the Phalanx and give us 12 weeks. That's really how you get past it. And I there's really no other way around it, because we could train you to get past it and be confident once you know what to do, how to do, and when to do it. And now it's over to you.
You kind of stole my thunder. But the first thing I say, read the question again. At least the first part of the question.
Yeah, the question. No, I have often been told I would be a good leader, but that idea scares me. How do I get past that? It's a really great question, man.
Yeah, and scare indicates fear, right?
Yeah, I would.
And then the first thing you got to understand. Yeah, first thing you got to understand, fear is not real. I know we said that
right.
100 times.
Danger's real, but fear is manufactured. It's made up. Right.
Absolutely. So first you got to get past that part. And the second thing is exactly what you said. You know what? I used to fear tests in college that I wasn't prepared for. No one fears the test that they're completely ready for. No. Right? No one fears that test. That's the test that you walk in with your chest.
You can't wait. You can't wait to take the test, man.
Oh, you're going to destroy that test. But it's when you've been hanging out, you hadn't studied, you hadn't prepared. That's when you're scared. So it's not lack of knowledge, it's lack of preparation. You hadn't studied the material. You don't have any knowledge of what's going on. So now with leadership, the reason that you're afraid is because you haven't prepared yourself to lead. So you have all this unknown, just like on a test. All these questions, the answers are unknown, and you have no idea how to get there. So if you're afraid of that role or the mantle of leadership, it's because you have not prepared. You have all these unknowns, all these possible situations get pop up. You don't know what you're going to do when all these scary unknown situations. Well, you got to prepare. You got to prepare for leadership. You got to get ready. What is leadership? What do I have? What do I need? Who am I? What is the target? Like all the different things we get you with, they're preparing you so you're no longer afraid. The ones that are prepared are not afraid. Think about it. Just go back to any point in time in your life when you were absolutely ready for a challenge, fear non-existent. When you are not prepared, you're terrified. Leadership is the same way. When you're not prepared, you're in complete fear of getting that phone call because you know you're going to fail. So let's prepare. That's where we come in. We help you with that preparation. We get you at the top of your game. We give you all the tools, all the understanding that you need to be the best leader possible. Preparation is the answer to that question.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And when we get back from the break, Dutch, I'm going to hit this definition of leadership, and I'll give us our formal definition of leadership, the one we give in our CEO of You seminar that we start out with.
30 seconds.
And then you and I can talk about it when we get back off the break, because I really want to camp out on that definition of leadership, because we have to define what it is that we're actually talking about when we're going forward on this. And you're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Andrew Wittman and the Dutch Coleman, your friendly neighborhood leadership and mental toughness coaches.